So great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I'm looking forward to getting into all the good work you're doing.
Yeah, me too.
So let's begin our journey with 5 years ago, this pandemic. We were a month into it. It was raging. So many things changed.
Mhm.
How much of living through that time period is reverberated into your life and what you do here in 2025?
Oh, tremendously. I was 5 years into my business at
Yeah.
that point and had enough foundation in it and was predominantly leading retreats, but also a year before that started my virtual offerings. And for 3 years, I'd been hearing my clients say to me, this is incredible. I want to learn to do what you do. I want to learn to do what you do. So, right before COVID hit, I was working with my mentor on creating a certification type of program because my clients just kept asking for it. So, going back this time, mid-April, 5 years ago, everybody I think was like lost and confused and wondering, what am I going to do? And I was busier than ever.
Yeah.
And I had a six-figure launch in April because I was just ready. I had the virtual model, I had the people that wanted to be trained by me. So I put out one email to my graduates and said, kicking off this, beta program, training the trainer in a week. If you're in, hop on a call with me. And so I was very, very busy that year in the best way. And I think, it's also the industry that I'm in.
Yeah.
Everybody was in lockdown. Everybody wanted to get on a Zoom
Uh-huh.
and be a part of something. And there wasn't escaping, there wasn't a lot to escape to. So you had to face your shit,
Yeah.
so to speak, more and more.
Yeah.
Um, so business exploded in the best way. And then 2 years later, it crashed and burned. And uh, best thing that ever happened, and I resurrected. The phoenix rose from the ashes, and I'd say that for me, it was when COVID hit. I had a CEO because I didn't believe that a healer, a coach, a woman with a degree in business and finance, but like no real knowing of like how to scale and build something that got so big, hired someone else to do that. And no one takes care of your baby as good as you.
Yeah.
And or rarely. I mean, you're a stepdad and you're we were just talking about your daughter and she's blessed to have someone that cares about her that deeply, but they just didn't. And so the rock bottom moments 2 years later really refined me and showed me what I'm capable of, and I'm in the best place I've ever been now. So it was to answer, your question. There you go. It was pivotal. Yeah.
But that's the true entrepreneurial spirit. It's that whole idea of when it really gets bad, you got to embrace it and say, what am I going to do better next time and evolve. That's what we're here for is evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. And as much as I had a degree in business and finance, and I come from a family of entrepreneurs and all that stuff, you only learn it in the school of hard knocks.
Uh-huh.
You learn it when you get knocked down and you're sitting in this place of choice of, do I keep going, or do I just, run the other way and end it? And I kept going even though I was in a dark tunnel.
Yeah.
I was in a dark tunnel for probably about a year, and and it was the most transformative experience. Like I wouldn't trade all the tough moments for anything for where I'm at today and what it's developed in me today. So yeah.
So let's get into today. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of fifth graders. It's career day. The kid in the back of the room is like, hey, what do you do for a living? How do you answer that child?
Oh, hey, little one. So I help your parents feel their feelings the way you feel your feelings,
Ah,
fully expressed.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. So, what did you want to be in the fifth grade? What was your dream?
Fifth grade. How old was I?
12,
Yeah,
11, 12?
so interesting. It sound really weird or woo-woo. I I remember saying to myself back at that young age, like, I'm an angel, which is a messenger, right? Like I was brought here for a bigger purpose. Like that was the thought I had at 12 years old. I didn't know what it was. So, and I'm very much a conduit and a messenger and a healer. And so, but aside from that, I don't know that I was really thinking that far ahead as to like what I wanted to do. I really was just enjoying the moment and watching my mom and my grandpa cook and taking up cooking at 10 years old. So never wanted to be a chef though, but yeah, I was just being a kid. Yeah.
So let's go back to the East Coast. Let's go to those foundational moments. What were the things, the seeds that were planted into you that eventually were harvested for you to become an entrepreneur, to help people to get to this point in life? What went on that helped you get to this point?
Yeah, so I got into the industry of self-development 20 years ago when I was 25. And it's something that in my, I wanted to study psychology.
Yeah,
I didn't want the 8 years of schooling
yeah,
because traditional schooling, lecturing, writing papers, reading books was not my learning style. So I did business and finance instead because numbers came easy to me. But my relationship with my mother and the struggles that I had with her is what finally led me into my first experience of self-development, which, 20 years ago was workshops in a big room, a bunch of people, no Zoom back then.
yeah,
And a lot of like mindset work and NLP work. And I fell in love with it from the first moment. I was like, yeah, this is home.
yeah.
But I still had to go on my own journey before I started my own business. And that took about 9 years. Took about 9 years of looking for the right mentors, the right healing, the right modality to experience the inner peace and freedom that I wanted because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I was always anxious and very codependent and needy and didn't have confidence in myself and didn't have a good relationship with my mother or myself or men, like always dating men that were emotionally unavailable. So there was a lot for me to discover about myself.
So who's been a hero for you? Who's been that inspiration that's allowed you to evolve into who you are?
Mm. Mhm. I think it's funny to say this, but I mean, definitely a few mentors for sure. I had and I'd even say um, myself and my relationship with spirit, with God,
Yeah.
in moments of hitting rock bottom. I've had a handful of rock bottom moments. You know, 12 years ago. So I was 8 years into this healing discovery journey, hitting my rock bottom of a 5 year relationship coming to an end, living in New York City where everybody, has it going on, wants to, think that they can make it happen. And I was miserable and um, left for San Diego with $2,000 to my name 12 and a half years ago. $2,000 to my name, $40,000 in debt, most of which was self-development,
Yeah.
but some of which was not.
Yeah.
um, no job lined up. One friend in San Diego that said I could stay with her, no car. And I remember saying, well, Anat, you can't fall off the floor. So it's only up from here.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I also knew that like, I don't know shit. I was 32. I was like, whatever I think I've known to this point, clearly I don't, because I don't have anything my heart desires except for now being in San Diego.
Yeah.
And so I was like, God take over. Like I started to really live in that level of surrender and allowing things that are meant to be to come to me instead of years of thinking I know what's best and forcing and controlling and manipulating. Yeah. So, so I'd say in that moment, it was me and my relationship to listening to God and spirit.
So, what would you say in your life, as an entrepreneur, as someone that's obviously evolved through different stages of life, it requires risk. What would you say is the biggest risk that you've taken?
Mm. Personally was that moment
Yeah.
and I remember calling my parents up and being like, "Okay, mom, dad, sit down. Just know you're gonna have some sleepless nights because here's what I'm doing, and I just have to do it. And you know, you're gonna lose some sleep over it. I get it." So that was personally, um, professionally the biggest risk I took. Yeah, I think it was in the moment of when my business went from, you know, flourishing multiple six figures to I can't even pay myself and um, sticking with it
Yeah.
and knowing that there was just a dark tunnel that I needed to go through.
Yeah.
So yeah, taking that risk and at the same time that belief. And I think it was a lot of my past clients that just believed in me so much that I was like, I, I can't let them down.
Yep.
They know something that I know as well, but I'm the one that has to walk through this dark tunnel right now to discover what's next.
So what gets you up every day? Are you a balanced person? How do you balance all this? You got business, you got to deal with deep things with clients and help them navigate through it. You have your own soul. You have all these things. How do you
Yeah.
approach each day? What makes you who you are?
I only do what lights me up.
Yeah.
Uh, and I made that shift January of 2024. So, I went into like my dark tunnel in 2022 and came out of it a year and a half later, but there was still that like PTSD to like that fear of will it ever be what it used to be? Will it ever be successful? Will I ever feel like I could relax again? And I didn't see how much I was operating from that fear, so much so that I was doing things that didn't light me up. I was looking at what everybody else was doing. I was forcing myself to do things like, oh, posting on social media, all this stuff that wasn't me.
Yeah.
And I woke up January 2nd of 2024 and I was like, I just have so much anxiety in my system, so much fear of losing this business again or fully losing it. And I just set out all these big goals for 2024 and I feel frozen from it. And I'm noticing myself doing things that I don't want to. And I just stopped right there and I said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm no longer going to live in this fear and I'm only going to do what excites me. Everything else, I'm either going to delegate or I'm not going to do it all.
Yeah.
And God, if you don't want me to do this anymore, then take it away because
Yeah.
it's not, there's no destination, there's a journey. And I was like, I'm not enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
Where now I'm so lit up every day to tackle the things on my list, the calls that I have, the people that I get to connect with, the team that I have. Yeah, and it came from feeling my biggest fear. So I had to feel through all the way through the thing that I feared the most. And on the other side of that, I felt free.
So let's say you have a dream tonight. You ran into that version of you right before you went to San Diego, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've led, the wisdom you've accumulated. What would you tell that young version of you?
Mm. You are smarter, more capable, and more, yeah, smarter and more capable than you think. Because I did not believe in myself. Yeah, not to be CEO and not to think that I could do the things I'm doing today, getting on stages, doing keynotes, being here with you, all this. Just that like you're smarter and more capable than you can imagine.
So at the end of the day, everything that you've done, all of the geography, all of the personal growth, business success, what are you ultimately the proudest of?
Mm, the impact. I've trained now over 60 people and coaches in my method and um, exponentially grew this round by 100%. Just launched my ninth cohort of my certification program and to see them. out there changing lives, making an impact in the way that I had for years, and having, seeing the the marriages that are saved and the necessary divorces and the babies that are born and the books that have been written and the businesses that have been started and the jobs that people have left because I had the courage to say yes and to keep saying yes and to face my dark moments.
So let's say you walk into a room with all of your clients that you've had over the years, and you could walk to a podium and tell them one fun story, one fun thing that would humanize you in a different way. Maybe a first concert, a seminal event, jumping out of an airplane, something fun. What would you tell that room?
Oh. Hmm. Wish I had this question ahead of time.
Uh, well, what about this? What are you a big music fan?
Yeah, yeah, I'm a big music fan.
What
Yeah.
was the first live concert you went to that was huge, that was a big deal?
Oh, all right, now you're bringing me back. Thank you. Okay. So, I have an older brother who's
Uh-huh.
3 years older than me,
Yeah.
and you know, loved smoking pot back in the, talking about the early 90s here, and you know, introducing me to all the things and took me to a Grateful Dead concert,
Oh yeah.
one of their last concerts in June of 1995. I think I think he passed away in August or something like that, right? But literally one of the last concerts. This was in New York, New Jersey, where we lived. So big, whatever, big stadium there. Um, and we all got high beforehand, of course. Um, and I don't remember one lick of that show, but boy, did I enjoy it.
You know what's so weird about that? I saw them at the same time in Seattle, and I went to a martini bar, and the guy I was with was an old family friend. He drugged me 3 rows up there. I could have thrown a quarter off of Jerry Garcia's belly. And I remember when he passed, I was like, I just saw them. Because when I went there, it wasn't my goal. I just looked through their weekly
Yeah.
thing, and I was like, let me see the Grateful Dead. I've never seen them. And what a weird experience. I'd never seen horses and cops on horses, and everybody was twirling around and giving each other food. It was a really, I mean, if you didn't get to experience that, it's definitely something that will never happen again.
Yeah, it was definitely a psychedelic experience, and um I'm like, yeah, I was there, but I can't tell you much about
Yeah,
it, but I was
you
there.
were there for
So
sure.
yeah, that
That's
that
cool.
was, I'd say, the biggest show ever, and biggest legends, I'd say, that I saw. Do you remember who opened for yours?
No, I have no memory at
Um,
all.
oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? They just came out with a movie about him like a year ago. I have to ask my husband. Blanking.
It may
Bob
come.
Dylan. Bob Dylan.
Oh, wow, really? Bob Dylan opened up. Wow, what a great show. That's wild. Oh my God.
Legend. I
That's
saw some
that's
legends. I
that's
kind of wish I was more present for it, but I saw some legends.
But you
Yeah.
were there. You were there. So
Yeah.
this is the perfect way to end on a high note. If anyone wants to reach out, they want to hire you, they have any questions, any of the good business, where do they go?
I hang out on Instagram. So if you follow me there, you will get a DM from me within a week because I like to get to know the human behind the follower,
Absolutely.
and help you in whatever way I can. And I have some free resources and my programs on my website, which is trainingcampforthesoul.com.
Right on. Perfect. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your story, and keep making the world a better place. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe, for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hello, friends. Joe Dimino here. I just wanted to let you know that after 30 years or so, I have finally released my first book of poetry through the mighty Spartan Press here in Kansas City, Missouri. As the creator and host of both Neon Jazz Radio and the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino podcast, along with being a visual artist, I'm ready to embark on a new adventure and want you to be a part of it. You can get a copy online via Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and actually on the streets in Kansas City at the great Prospero's bookstore off 39th Street. You can also visit joedimino.com for links to the book, to more poetry, and everything in my world, including paintings. Thanks for all of the love and support over the years, and please dig the words.